This is Adam from MindForge Technologies. I'm going to show you how to use GIMP and what makes it a nice, useful tool. First of all, you want to go find it and download it. You can get it from a Google search for GIMP. And as you'll find out, GIMP stands for the GNU Image Manipulation Program. So it's free and open source. And for those of you running Windows, you'll want to click for Windows. That's the easiest way to get to it. And then go for the installer. There are two different versions. One of them is for x64, which means having a dual core or a quad core processor, and the other one is for a regular 32-bit system. If you don't know which one you need, then go ahead and choose this first one. I'm going to choose the second one because I know that I'm running a x64 system. Then you'll just download. And once your download is finished, you should have your installation file on your desktop, so we can go ahead and close out of our browser. You'll double click and go through the regular process. Now I've actually already installed it, so I'm not going to worry about doing this right now. The next thing I want to show you is actually a little bit about how to use it. I'm using Launchy to launch it. Otherwise you can just go to your start menu and find it there. Now I am using the 64-bit version, which should go faster if you have a dual core or quad core processor. It's experimental and I haven't had any trouble with it, but that's another reason you might want to stick with a 32-bit version instead. So when you open it up, you'll notice the first weird thing, especially if you're used to Photoshop and being used to Windows in general, is that you don't just have one big window with everything inside of it, but you'll have multiple windows. So your main window, the one that actually has the title of the program, is where you'll do all of your editing. And everything else are going to be different windows for toolbars and that kind of thing. So you can see if you click on Windows within this main area, you'll see the different kinds of things you can add. A dialog is basically any kind of panel that has other information in it. So right now we have this toolbox dialog up, but we'll also want to add the layers dialog. So you can see it opens up an entirely new thing. We can open up an image and start modifying it. You can either go into File, Open, and open an image from there, create a new one, or you can just drag an image onto it, and it will open up in this window. I just want to show you what a few of the tools do so you can get an idea of how this works. It's pretty different from Photoshop. It still does have a lot of power. These are your basic tools up here. There's a selection tool, so selecting a rectangular piece, or a circular piece, or a lasso, so you can circle any size you want. This will be familiar to anybody who's used Photoshop, is the fuzzy select tool. This will select areas based on color. So right now it's selected everything that's black. So you'll just click on an area with a certain color and it'll select everything with that same color. So you can see down here there's a threshold that when you mouse over it says maximum color difference. Basically as you increase it, will include more and more colors when you click. As you can see, even though this clearly is not black, this red, it's close enough to black that it was selected anyway because it was within this large threshold that I gave it. If we put the threshold all the way to the top, it will select everything. And all the way at the bottom, it'll select only the one color, in this case just this black. So then you have also select by color tool, which does a similar kind of thing. And some other important. Zooming in, of course, is important. So you can zoom in as far as you want, and you want to hold down Control to zoom back out. So you click to zoom in, hold down Control and click to zoom back out. Some kind of other fun tools. If you want to rotate something, then you'll want to... I already have my selection made, otherwise you want to select whatever you want to rotate. And then you can just click and hold and drag it around. And you can see this box is telling you where it's going to be rotated relative to where it was previously. So if you click rotate, it'll think for a moment move there. Now you'll notice that all I did was rotate my selection, which was all of the black around this image. So I'm going to undo that because it looks rather hideous. Why don't we select something different to make this a little bit more interesting. The next tool is the scaling tool. This you would just use after you've made a selection to make that selection bigger or smaller. And once you've done it, hit scale, and you're done. And I just undid that again. Then there's the shear tool. Now this will kind of stretch your image, but it'll keep the sides parallel. So as you can see, you click and hold and move it back and forth, and everything stays parallel, but you can kind of shift things that way. So it kind of makes your image look like it's on a different plane than the one it's on. And then you would just click shear, and it would be done. You can see it maintains all the quality as you do this. And then we have a perspective tool. Now this is the same idea. This gives you the chance to make it look like your image, your flat image, is coming from a different perspective than it is. So it's just like the shear tool, except you have complete freedom over all the different sides. So if you were to do something like this, you could try to make it look like our image was laying down on a surface, for example. So that as if the bottom is coming towards you and the back is going away from you. Lastly, we have a flip tool. This one, you just click on your selection and it flips it. So if you want to deselect some area that you have selected or select the inverse, that's all in the selection option up here. So I want to select none. There's also a text box, so you can type in text. And when you want to change the color and that kind of thing of the text, all of those options will be down here once you have chosen the text box. So this gives you all your choices for font, size, color, all that kind of stuff. And the paint tool for filling in areas that are all the same color. Gradient tool, all similar sort of stuff that is what you have in Photoshop. It just has a different presentation. So as you can see, there's a lot you can do with GIMP. It doesn't have as much power as Photoshop does, but again, it does have a lot of power. So I'd recommend it to anyone, especially because you can't beat the cost. So I hope that was informative, and thanks for watching. Again, this was Adam from MindForge Technologies.